Asobo Studios continue to move forward with the development of Microsoft Flight Simulator at a pretty rapid pace. Alpha Build 1.2.12.0 is set to release very soon, with Build 1.3 coming shortly after. Now, both updates contain a bunch of fixes in addition to some very nice features, so let's jump in and take a look at all of that. So then, two upcoming alpha builds. The first is scheduled to release to testers very soon, and whilst the update contains a number of fixes, specifically for the SDK as well as for air traffic control, the most interesting addition by far is the experimental tech for Neural TTS. TTS, of course, text-to-speech, is something that is essential to software like Flight Simulator. There's a whole bunch of background chatter going on inside the game, with huge chunks of it coming from air traffic control, amongst other things. The issue here, of course, is that ATC needs to be capable of responding to dynamic situations within the sim world. Now, there has been a number of solutions to this in the past, one of which is to use pre-recorded voice-acted lines, and it can indeed work. However, the end results can sometimes feel very disjointed, as the words and phrases are strung together in order to form some semblance of a sentence, but often disjointed. Text-to-speech seems a potential way to get around this by constructing full sentences on the fly. However, the trouble here has always been that computer-generated speech often feels very synthetic. Neural TTS, however, gets around this problem by using deep AI learning to create the voices. Microsoft have been one of the frontrunners in developing this technology with their Azure services, and in fact the tech is built into the latest Edge web browser. Now, whilst Asobo haven't directly stated that Flight Simulator will be using the Azure TTS, it seems entirely reasonable to assume that they will indeed use it, based simply on the fact that they are using other Azure tech. So with that in mind, let's use Edge to see exactly what Neural TTS can sound like.
Today we'd like to feature an outstanding flight simmer and alpha participant, Simtom112. You have probably seen some of his screenshots in many of our development updates and social media posts. He's got a great eye for photography and is an integral part of our alpha community.
So Neural TTS is pretty darn great. The tech has come a long way. Now, Azure also has the ability to create custom voices. It essentially means that there's potential for an infinite variety of natural-sounded voices here. Bottom line, if this works as well as in practice as it does in theory, then Neural TTS is going to be yet another game-changer, or game-changing tech that is being employed by Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's really taken it to a whole new level. So that's the big addition for the 1.2.12 update. But the 1.3 update is also going to have something new and very interesting in store. The target release date for this update going out to testers is May. The new feature, the addition of the Boeing 747. Airliners, of course, are a huge part of any flight simulator featuring private and commercial planes. The 747 will be following hot on the heels of the Airbus A320, which was recently introduced into the game in the current alpha. For both of these planes, Asobo have been working very closely with Airbus and Boeing in order to make the planes as close to their real-world counterparts as possible. Now, whilst Asobo haven't yet detailed the features that will come with the 747, we can probably expect them to be similar as what came with the A320. The A320 included fly-by-wire, and this covered, among other things, an airliner-specific autopilot and auto-throttle. It also included MCDU flight computers, high-altitude flight, seeing as airliners can fly far higher than all private planes so far released. High-altitude flight is something that is certainly going to be very interesting to try out. The A320 and likely the 747 by extension also come with long-range missions and some ground-based features such as refueling and baggage trucks, not to mention the pushback vehicles and many other things. So basically the airliners are the beginning of the process that's really going to start bringing airports to life. Now, with the A320, Asobo were very clear that the update for the plane didn't include all features, as they wanted to roll testing for the plane out in phases. So it seems very likely that the same will be true for the arrival of the 747 in the 1.3 update. Now, Asobo have also been clear that over the coming weeks we're going to see the full build notes for the 1.2.12 update as well as the 1.3 update, where hopefully they will go into a bit more detail on what we can expect to see. The other notes that Sobo mentioned this week are that the partnership series should be being released in mid-April, so maybe next week or anytime very soon now, and episode 8 of the Discovery series, the IFR video, will be released in early May, both of which I'm very much looking forward to. That then brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.